Here we go. Welcome into No Good Takes 25. Jeremy not with us today, so me and Mike do a bit of swapping. I'm on Mike Up. He joins me on No Good Takes. Plenty to talk about, but first and foremost, Mike, hello.
My first time on this on No Good Takes. I mean, I fit in perfectly, so I'm very, very excited for my debut here.
Yeah, if you and Bo ever want to jump on to
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
guys would fit in like a glove.
Come on, big week this week. Big week.
It's huge. How'd the Thursday night lays hit? I know we're gonna get into it later, but how'd you guys look? No, yeah, okay. I didn't even.
I
Look.
got threats last night. Okay, I got threats last night. Okay, how about that?
I mean, I don't doubt it.
7.5 Rams. Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, who is to say that Mac Jones is just that guy all of a
I
sudden?
can't wait to talk about Mac Jones and the 49ers. I know we're getting to it in a little bit. I can't wait.
All right, so we'll start with the Mets because they did not waste any time cleaning house. Most people are gone. The only one who stays is Anton Richardson, which I am totally behind. I don't know how you could have justified getting rid of him. Before we sing the praises of Eric Chavez leaving the Mets, I do want to talk about Jeremy Hefner getting let go because he's such a vital part of this organization. He has been for such a long time, and I can't pinpoint anything that he did to be the reason the pitching staff fell short, but I do understand the move, and I'm not entirely upset about it.
You know, I was a little surprised. I thought he would be a holdover again. I mean, he's survived so many different regimes, but at the same time, on the other hand, I do see it. They failed so miserably last year, but what he was able to get out of the pitchers in 2024, I thought it would buy him a little bit more run here. And I remember reading years ago that they loved Jeremy Hefner so much that there was a chance that he was going to be named GM at some point. Now, David Stearns has said he doesn't want to, fill that need. If the perfect hire comes up, that's who it's going to be. But I was a little surprised because I think they really did value him and do value him in the organization. But everybody had to go. Like, if you're not going to fire the manager or the GM, you need to make these changes.
Yeah, and again, there's no calling for cleaning house in the fire sale without like popular guys going. If you really were committed to getting rid of the almost entirety of the coaching staff, which the Mets were, this is what happens. You got to pay the price. And we know the highs of Jeremy Hefner and what he can do. And sometimes it's just about getting fresh blood in that clubhouse. And if that's what you had to do, it's what you had to do. Hefner was great. But again, at the end of the day, the coaching staff shakeup is one thing. But when you have the payroll you have with these guys, it starts with the players. So I don't hate letting go of Hefner. I understand if people do. But I definitely am. I'm pro change. And I think it's a good thing.
I still think, like, when you look at it, the fault is still on David Stearns. And it's funny that
Yes.
he's the guy part of the decision-making of firing these coaches, but it was really the players and the pitchers that he brought in and how he assembled this team, and people got to be let go. But you understand that. And Eric Chavez actually said that on his Instagram story today, which he would fight with Met fans and go at Met fans constantly throughout the season. But he did say, like, this is what happens when you fail that badly. And guys are going to be let go and your collateral damage, and that's exactly what this is.
And speaking of Eric Chavez, goodbye and good riddance.
Yeah.
Too long that he got the opportunity to coach these hitters. A total disaster.
How much does it matter? I mean, like, seriously, because I remember reading a quote from JD Martinez in the middle of the season saying that hitting coach is the worst job. Like, you get blamed. You get blamed involuntarily without any evidence. You're just getting blamed. Like, at the end of the day, it's the hitter's not hitting, right? It's not on the it's not on the hitting coach.
I agree with you, and I'm happy you brought that up because we don't know what would have happened if he got fired midseason, if JD Martinez, who everyone was calling for, got brought in. We don't know that the Mets would have turned it around and become this great, disciplined hitting team. But we do know what we got with Chavez, and nothing can change, but nothing would have changed. I like going to the possibility of I don't know what's going to come next instead of saying, well, we know what's going to continue to happen. And look, you and I were not high on him, even though hitting coach isn't exactly the world's easiest job. Again, like a manager, a lot of what happens to you is how the players perform. But what did he show you? What approach did these players take over his tenure to show you that you were looking forward to something next season.
Yeah, I think the one thing that would have been difficult mid-season, which is why I never thought he would get fired mid-season, was because I just when you have a guy that I think was beloved, I think they really liked Eric Chavez in that locker room. So when you have a team that really likes one guy and then the players aren't performing, and then we're going to go ahead and fire that guy midseason, and we're basically going to place the blame that should be on the players, on the hitting coach. I don't think that rubs on the players the right way. I think that is a tough sell to those players. So mid-season, I understood not firing him. Now I do. Like, yes, let's get a fresh thought process, a fresh approach in that clubhouse, in that room going forward.
And you know what? I'm happy with what the Mets are doing. I'm happy that they're getting rid of the pieces around Mendoza and not Mendoza himself, because this is just outside of Mets baseball. This is everywhere in New York. Thibodeau with the Knicks. The Rangers have a revolving door of head coaches 2 years in and out. And the Mets had the same thing with Buck, with Mickey Callaway, with Luis Rojas, whatever it may have been. So it's nice to see that you're giving at least one more year to your manager. Now the question becomes, heading into 2026, how short is that leash on Mendoza? Say it's June. It's June 1st. Mets are playing 500 ball. It's not promising. Do you think he goes?
Depending on who they hire as the bench coach, it could be a possibility. That's going to be a big hire. Remember, the Yankees a couple of years back hired Brad Ausmus as the bench coach, and Boone did not have a contract yet. They gave him the extension last offseason, so it was 2 years ago when they hired Ausmus. And people thought, like, okay, that's like you're hiring a guy that is managed in this league, has experience, where if the team is not performing and you need to make a move, you have an experienced guy in that locker room, in that clubhouse, that can take over right away. So I am very interested to see who the hire is at bench coach, because if it's somebody that has managerial experience, then I think that'll give you your answer on how short his leash is.
And that's where the conversation becomes so tricky, because when does it become you have a backup plan? Let's just like throw out a random example. Let's throw out Ron Washington or whatever. Not saying that he's going to take the job.
Right.
And not saying I want him. Just first manager that came to my mind who got fired. Then what does that say to your clubhouse of now? It doesn't feel like you're in it to win. It feels like there's this looming black cloud around you in the beginning of the season with one slip up, and it's a new manager. And I'm not going to sit here and say I want Mendoza all season long if he does struggle out of the gates, because you got to wash away what happened in 24 and focus on what happened more recently in 25. But it's a weird, tricky black cloud that's going to hover over you if you do bring in a guy who's ready to go immediately. Mendoza gets off to a bad start.
Right, and here's the thing with Mendoza. He signed a 3-year contract at $4.5 million. Cheap. Not what the big managers get paid. Remember what they were offering to Counsell. Counsell was getting offered $4 or $5 million a year, okay, to come and manage the Mets, and he ended up declining. So you hire Mendoza. And Carlos Mendoza, this is his last year. They have a club option, but this is technically his last year on the contract. So you're getting to a point now after this season, that's going to be your answer. They have a good year and he's fine, that he's going to get a contract extension, but you're going to know after this season what they are going to do with Mendoza.
What classifies a good year? Like back to the playoffs?
Back to the playoffs. You got to get back to the playoffs. And you can't have these massive slumps. I mean, if you have these big time slumps again, that's not going to work either. How consistent can you be? You're going to go through tough stretches, but you can't go through 3 big time 12 out of 14 losses throughout a season like they just went on.
Yeah, no, completely. If it's another, I think you got to hover around 90 wins. And I'm not saying get to 90. I'm saying, I'll be generous. You got to be in the 87 range. You got to be fighting for some sort of wild card spot. Not as pathetic as what the race was this year.
But that, you see, like, to me, that is, I can't have that. You need to be, they're going to spend money this offseason. You have big time pitchers coming through this system that we already saw. You better be competing for that division. You better be competing for that division, especially if they're going to spend the money, which I think they're going to. And I don't think it's going to be a ton, but they're going to make improvements to this roster. If they're not in the postseason race next year, I think everybody's gone. But division race, they better be in that division race.
I'd like to think they are. Unless it's one of those scenarios like 22 where someone's going to go out and win 100 games and you just say, screw it. We can't keep pace with them. It is what it is if they're going to have one of those seasons. And that brings me to the next point at the Mets. Then we'll get out of here, talk about the Yanks and what Cam Schlittler did. With Alonso and Diaz, and I gave it some thought since last time we talked on Mike Dunn. And if you bring them back, which now I'm starting to sort of lean towards, you know what, if you got to pay, you got to pay for it. If the years are good, whatever. With the Mets, though, if you do bring back Pete Alonso and you bring back Edwin Diaz, that's kind of like rewarding your roster in a way. And I think they should be brought back, but it's kind of like rewarding your roster for, hey, you guys had a bad season, you underperformed. I can make the argument that your guys' play got this entire coaching staff nixed of a job. And the punishment is re-signing that same core guy. And Diaz gets, the mulligan. He had a great season, rival 22. Alonso had a great season as well, but I don't know. It feels weird to bring them back in a way, if that makes sense.
I'm going to say this. I think they are going to, I think the team's going to look a lot different. I think they're going to, I don't think Pete Alonso's going to be back. I am fully on that. And whether I want that or not, like the fan in me, yes, of course I want to see Pete back. But I think they are going to, I think they're going to go to him and say, can you be a full-time DH? And he's going to say no. And then you're going to get into an issue there. But either way, because they need to improve this defense. They need to look at the Yankees. The Yankees were one of the more unathletic teams, and they still have unathletic players, right? Stanton, almost gets thrown out at second because he's staring in the dugout because he thought he hit a home run when clearly he didn't. But they got athletic. They won a series because they brought in Jazz Chisholm last year, and he's able to score from first on a ball to the right field corner. They got more athletic. The Mets need to get more athletic, and it's going to help them on the base paths, and it's going to help them defensively. And when you get more athletic, you're going to win more baseball games because you're going to have more chances.
Yeah, and speaking of the standpoint really quick, because I'm happy you brought that up, whoever's in the control room, props to them, because they were able to pan back on Stan at the perfect moment that his eyes, the life left his eyes, and it was like that, oh crap moment. Like, I'm about to get gunned out at second if I don't jump on my horse. That was hilarious.
I thought he was done. I thought he was done at second. I was like, this is going to be, and it wasn't even a close play.
No.
I was shocked. The throw was bad, but still, it was still funny.
How quick did he get drunk in that locker room? Then he got in there and the speech that he gave about kids don't do what I did. Like, how much alcohol did he get into?
I didn't see that. I got to go check that out.
You got to look at his interview in the clubhouse while they're celebrating. I don't know what they gave him. And the guy's a big guy. And the amount of time.
Somebody like that probably doesn't drink that often. When you look at his body, he's probably not drinking that often. So he's only drinking probably when you celebrate like that.
Gave him a White Claw and he's on the floor.
Yeah,
already.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Man up, guy like that.
Man up, Big G. Bad look for people with G names out there.
Come on.
No, but really with the Mets, I understand they got to get more athletic. Where do you go for that, though? Are you just looking within? Because obviously you have Carson Bench, who's going to be looking at center. Jet Williams, depending what you want to do with, again, center and second base. There's pieces there. Do you look outward? Do you look inward with replacing a first baseman? It's a tough convo.
I think partly you're going to look inside the organization. Like, I think Williams will have a chance to make the opening day roster at second or center field. I think McNeil's gone. I think, again, they're going to move Ronnie or definitely Mark Vientos in some kind of trade, whether he's part of a package, whether he's the headliner for something small. They're going to make those moves. And again, I don't think you see Pete Alonso at first base next year. Now, that doesn't mean he's not back. But can he get a decent amount of money as a DH where you say, okay, I'm willing to pay this for him to just be a DH and he's willing to accept it? That's going to be the tricky part in this contract negotiation.
You know what kind of kills me, though? And I'm not here to dispute that Pete Alonso's defense was nothing to go and applaud because the throws were terrible. Some of the plays he had, hard hit balls, were terrible. But his defensive aspect that always goes overlooked. And again, everything else overshadows it. His ability to just pick a ball out of the dirt. That is way too underrated. That's not talked about enough. How many double plays do you think he saved this season?
It's very, it's very underrated. But he's improved. I'll give you that. Like, he's certainly improved from 2019, but it's not where you need to be. It's, you look at like last night too with Nathaniel Lowe at first base for the Red Sox. I don't think that's a play Pete makes. It was a tough play. Don't get me wrong. It was a really tough play. I'm not going to sit here and just completely crap on Nathaniel Lowe, but you got to get athletic. You got to get better defensively. I don't have an answer for you on who that is. I don't. But I think they're going to move in a different direction.
That's fair. That is totally fair. All right, so let's move on from the team that's in the golf course in Cancun.
Really.
We said no more Mets talk on your pod, and here we are.
No more.
Now we're done, actually, until next week if something else happens.
Exactly.
All right. All right. Yanks take care of Boston. Cam Schlittler, like that's a guy. It's one thing to throw 100. That's one thing in itself, but to dot up 100 for your sinker to not lose any velocity compared to the four-seamer, and to be 6'6" and 100. Who the hell hits that? Show me a lineup that would have taken care of business against Cam Schlittler last night.
John Boy posted an upcam. I saw it this afternoon. It looks impossible. It literally looks impossible. And then, I had found out today that Boston doesn't hit velocity very well. So mix that with the control that he had all night. He didn't have a 3-ball count. Kevin was telling me from the second inning on. I mean, that's incredible. The control, the perfect pitching. Early the starter for Boston was like pitching. You know what I mean? Like he was mixing in a lot of stuff, working the corners, not trying to get beat over the middle. This guy was not only overpowering you, but he was pitching, and that's the most dangerous pitcher out there. I mean, it was like DeGrom painting the corners last night. He was that great. What an incredible performance to be in a series, to pitch in a series in which Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, and Garrett Crochet, who all make, over $500 million combined, right? To pitch in that series and easily be the best pitcher, easily have the best performance as a rookie who came up in July. What a performance from that kid.
And there were some pitches that, he's leaving center that you have an opportunity to hit.
No chance.
But when your stuff moves like that, it's got that much life. And it's not like he lost it. There were some pitches, he dipped down to 98, 99. It almost looked strategic because the next pitch it was back to 100. Incredible.
He was so calm on the mound, like a stone cold killer on the mound last night too. So it was just like when he came out for the 7th, he walked straight down to the tunnel. After the 7th inning, he walked straight to the tunnel. And he was like, I took it as he doesn't want to talk to Boone because he doesn't want to have that argument with him because he's going to say, hey, I need to stay in this game. I need to stay in this game. And he had not even a 10-pitch 8th inning.
Yeah.
Got to 106 pitches. And he was like, all right, he's done now. But I mean, he probably had another inning. I mean, I wouldn't have sent him out there, but he probably had another inning in him.
No, the logic in me would not have sent him out. The fan in me would have sent him out in a heartbeat. Because there's no doubt no one's getting on base in the 9th. I think he's striking out the side in the 9th. That's just how it felt.
The difference in with Fried, and I agreed with Boone taking Fried out in game 1. Fried looked tired. This kid didn't look tired. I mean, he showed no signs of slowing down, even in that 8th inning. So, like, if Boone was going based on feel and he wasn't a rookie, and maybe take away that it's an elimination game, or Bednar had thrown more pitches the past 2 days and he really didn't feel comfortable going to anybody else, he could have justified leaving him in. Again, I wouldn't have done it, but in certain scenarios, he definitely could have.
And I was listening to the fan today, and some caller came in, and he was talking about, well, I would have brought in Luke Weaver. It's a 4-run lead. And BTSL laughed at it. I laughed at it. And then it got me thinking, imagine you brought in Williams or something in that spot. You say, you know what? This is a lead. I feel comfortable. Bednar pitched 2 nights in a row. Let's give him a rest. Bloop, a blast, a walk, another blast, and all of a sudden, oh my God.
You got to
that would have been something. Yeah.
It was a 4-run lead. They were fine going to Bednar there. You have the 2 days off. You had the day off.
Yeah.
So even if Bednar is not going to be down tomorrow, but even if he was, like, okay, you won the series.
Yeah. And with the Yankees, and last point on them, actually, maybe I have a few more. This isn't your father's Yankees. I want to make that perfectly clear. It's still far from it. But from how Schlittler dominated, that is just, a history-making performance. That's a Yankees-making moment. From McMahon, Rockies legend, by the way, flipping over the dugout.
Of course. Thank you, Rockies.
Thank you, Rockies. It makes you think of Jeter into the stands. It makes you think of the 90s, how dominant they were. And, like, the defense. Volpe made 2 really good plays this weekend. How about Anthony Volpe? He might be a playoff guy.
He might be a playoff guy. He saved them, Chisholm, with 2 terrible throws last night to second base. And then the one with Williams in game 2. Yeah, he saved them big time. Is Volpe a playoff guy?
Might just be a playoff performer.
And by the way, McMahon's play is so much better than the overrated running into the stands, by the way. I mean, that is just that play from McMahon was unbelievable. That is so much better than Jeter sprinting into the stands trying to hurt himself just so he could bleed a little bit and have a great moment. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, clearly Jeter sold the crap out. He didn't have to go into the stands. No, absolutely not. McMahon, on the other hand, that's what they teach you in Colorado. Lay out for the team.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure.
He did. McMahon did bleed a little bit coming out of the dugout. I don't know if you saw. He's had purple and black running down his face.
You must have been so emotional in that moment. Like, that's my guy. That's my guy.
Well, the Rockies breed third baseman. Arenado, McMahon. It's just what happens.
I saw a tweet today that was making fun of your Rockies, actually. And it was David Bednar and Ryan McMahon must be so confused as to why they're still playing in October right now.
That's terrible. They act like October isn't happening next year.
I was laughing hard at that one.
People want them to sell the team. Get out of here. They know what they're doing. I thought it was a mess. They fired the GM. Terrible. That's ridiculous. All right. So Yankees move on to Toronto. I want to talk about San Diego. I know you and Bunk already got on them.
Yeah.
And you're talking about Preller, and I agree with you. But just from a fan perspective, how much longer as a Padres fan can you sit and justify your GM acting like you're playing MLB The Show and accepting all trades, selling the farm 1 year, getting it back the next? It's not like we were applauding the Bogaerts deal, but he's only getting older. Machado and Tatis only getting older. You mentioned the pitching. Yeah, no guarantee they'll be back. I just feel like that Preller really dug himself a hole for the next 2 or 3 years here.
The issue is, like, when we want to, and I've been on Preller's case for a while, but when you look at their farm system, he just somehow restocks it. Like, he just continues to restock their farm system, or guys come up and perform. So, he's able to make the trades he did. Then he trades Soto and he gets, a decent package back. Then he goes and trades part of that package for Dylan Cease to Chicago. So he's just, like you said, MLB The Show. I wonder if the owner's health had something to do with it in the past, with how aggressive he was getting Pete Seidler, I think his name was, getting him a championship. I wonder if that had something to do with it. But either way, like, he's crazy. He goes rogue and trading one of the top prospects in baseball for a relief pitcher. That's unbelievable, by the way. I mean, he was unreal in the Chicago series. But trading for a relief pitcher like that just, to me, feels very irresponsible.
I guess you justify that you do have control of his contract. It's not like that you got to worry about re-signing him after the season. He's going to walk and you really lose it. I guess that's where you can go at, but as a Padres fan, it's weird because there's no real window with the Padres. That's what I've noticed, is that your window is going to be the next 2 years. It's going to go away while you restock. And then the second your farm is back up, it's time to surround this core again with whoever the new the boy of the week is going to be. It's like a new relationship every single year. And the Padres after the game too, and I'm sure you've seen the video by now.
Oh my God.
I thought it was AI. I legit went on Twitter and I saw it, and I thought somebody made that up, because there's no way that you can blame an umpire. And I agree they got squeezed, but they're not the first team to get squeezed. They won't be the last. But I'm sorry, is it the umpire's fault that you scored 1 run in your last 33 innings of postseason play until last night or whatever the hell it was? That's insane. It's insanity.
I can't believe it's not being talked about more.
I know.
Like, that's what made me think at first it was AI. And then I was like, no, this looks pretty real. I can't believe that it is not being talked about more, how disgusting that was. But either way, and I think it was Jose Iglesias, by the way.
He was in there.
I'm almost positive he was the guy in the hoodie, like, really getting in their face. Obviously, you saw Bogaerts on the top step really yelling as well. But, like, just disgusting. And like, again, I don't know where this team goes, because remember last offseason, they didn't have that much money to spend because of the ownership situation. They didn't know who was taking over, which sibling was taking over. So he had to really be smart about how much money he spent. And he goes out, signs Pivetta to a really nice contract for them because he was great this year. But what do you do with this pitching rotation? Who's going to their starting pitching was not good. Best bullpen in baseball, sure, but their starting pitching was not good. Darvish comes out of a game without completing 2 innings yesterday. He's completely washed up. King might be gone. Cease wasn't great this year. You can let him go. What are they going to do in this offseason to improve this team?
And I don't know. And again, you mentioned Michael King too, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt coming back from injury, but he wasn't good either. It
Right.
wasn't. None of them were good. None of these guys, unless of course it was you Darvish against the Mets. None
Right.
of them were good.
Of course.
And now where my mind goes, Mike, and now I'm just playing fantasy land. Hey, what happens with Paul Skeens? Skeens screams San Diego all of a sudden.
Right, but if you didn't trade one of the top prospects in baseball for a relief pitcher that may give you 4 innings a week, then maybe you have a better package to send over to Pittsburgh. I completely agree with you. That would be a good spot. Aggressiveness, getting them young players. I'm sure there's a couple of major league ready players on this team as well. Get them over to Pittsburgh, but I have to look at their farm system. How many guys do they have in the top 100? How many valuable prospects do they actually have right now?
I mean, probably none left.
I don't know.
Left. Who the hell knows? You traded the top 4 prospect in baseball for Mason Miller, which again, say what you want about that. I know that I wasn't high on the trade. I mean, if they went to the World Series and won it, whatever, it worked. Good for you. But now with again, you call it the recklessness of Soto, even though you're able to flip him for the farm back from the Yankees. And I don't know. I really don't know. For at the point of how Preller's operated, an NLCS appearance is not justifiable.
Bogarts is awful. He's awful. And Machado, and Machado is great, but you just re-upped with him. So now he's basically got 10 more years left. It's an 11-year contract now. So, he's not done until 2033. You're paying him through, what is it? This is 2025. He's 32. You're paying him until he's 40 freaking years old. I mean, I don't get it. I understand keeping your great players. I understand rewarding him. He had an opt-out. He would have gotten paid a ton. I understand that. But I'm lost for words with how I would go about getting this team back, because you're right. There is a little bit of a window here. You still have good players. You have this elite bullpen. Tatis, Machado still in their prime, but you need to completely revamp your pitching staff this offseason. And I think it's going to be pretty tough if you can't spend a ton of money like you had with the issue last season.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, on Machado, did you see the reporter in the locker room after the game? He asked Machado, how'd you assess the season? I think it's a good question.
It's a good question. I think you need to ask that question to the right player, though, at the right time. And I don't think he was the right player, and I don't think that was the right time. I understand the question. I'm always going to side with the reporter most times, and I'll side with him. But I think the reporter needs to know that you got a guy that's pissed off right now. They just lost. If it's an end of the year press conference, fine. But I think that in that moment, Machado may have been right.
Counter argument, I think the reporter knew exactly what he was doing. He knows that's one of the biggest divas in the league. I think he's trying. I don't think he was expecting that short of an answer, but I think he was expecting some pushback from Machado. I think that's good reporting. I think it's A+ reporting on that guy, whoever it might have been. All right.
That's the future. This is the future of reporting, by the way. So these are the questions you'll be asking if you're in a locker room.
It's just rage baiting at this point.
Yeah, really. You're just going to be sitting there rage baiting professional athletes.
Okay. Real quick, Tigers Guardians. And I think the Tigers are going to get absolutely washed out by the Mariners, besides the Scooble start. But that is such a needed win for the Tigers. Because now all of a sudden, I completely forgot that they just lost out of the AL Central and had one of the biggest collapses in recent history. Because they just beat the team that took the division from them. And they're in the ALDS. That's the goal. That's where you thought they were going to be.
Right. Good for them, too. To lose that series the way they did and then to come back, lose the division, come back, give credit to AJ Hinch for that. Yeah. But yeah, it's a big win. That series set baseball back years. I said this morning. That really set back. Baseball is on the up and up right now. You see the ratings. Ratings are great. But if somebody just tuned into that series right there and was like, oh, I'm excited to watch baseball, Nope, not anymore. Just turn it off. Never watch the sport again. And I wouldn't blame you, honestly. As much as I love it, I wouldn't blame you. But Detroit, Skubal, yes, they'll win those starts most likely. But after that, it's tough. Mize did not finish the year strong. Flaherty did not have a great year. So it's going to be tough for them to win this series against a great pitching staff and a lineup that was hot at the end of the year in Seattle.
And Mike, there's a difference between pitchers' duels. If I had to show you Fried versus Crochet game 1 wild card, yeah, that's exciting. That is the best of the best right there. You know what I compare Guardians baseball to? It's like a soccer game. You know only one or two cool things is going to happen all game. And there's a chance it might not even happen. There's a difference between elite pitching and then just putrid hitting. And that's exactly what it was with the Guardians. I hated that series.
It was exactly. It wasn't pitcher's duel. It was bad offense. It was just bad offense.
Which you knew you were going to get.
Yeah, right. Until the end, though, when Detroit finally started to hit the ball a little bit. But I want to forget that series completely. I think Detroit, again, if you can push this to 5 and give yourself a chance with Skubal in game 5, that's the only way you're going to win this series. But I can't say. I like Seattle way too much. I really like this team.
Yeah, I'm big with Seattle. They feel like one of those teams that are just going to explode out of the gate or just fall flat. And I don't see it going 5. I see it going 4 if you're lucky, but the Mariners, man.
I think if it goes to 5, they're going to have issues, Seattle, because you're going to see Skubal again. So if you could get it done in 4, that's like the Mets last year. You're going to see Wheeler in game 5.
Yeah.
You had to win game 4 because you probably weren't winning that game. You snuck a win in game 1 when he came out of the game in the 8th. They have to win this series in 4, in my opinion.
I totally agree, and I think they will. I really think they will. And what else? We have Dodgers, Phillies. I don't even want to talk about the Reds. Screw that. You know what? I have a new rule. I have a proposition for you, Mike.
Okay.
Ready? You're Rob Manfred, and I just walked into your office. We're sitting down.
Okay.
Rob, the 2025 NL wildcard race was a joke. Here's my proposition. If the third team in any wildcard spot is not within at least 5 games of the second team, there's no third wildcard spot. Figure it out. I don't want that anymore.
I thought you were going to say put the worst team in the league in the wild card because they would deserve it more than the team that only won 83 games. Okay. I don't hate it. It was just what you expected. You know, when you go into postseason series, sometimes you're like, oh, maybe. Of course, there's always a chance. But in the back of your mind, like, especially with this one, you're like, there's no way they win this series, right? There's no way they could do it. And that's exactly what happened. They got embarrassed.
It was brutal. And again, credit to the Reds. Credit to Terry and his Reds getting to the playoffs. Playing 500 baseball.
They may be on the up and up. We'll see, though. There's no guarantee.
Oh, my God. I had a take on I may have posted on my TikTok before I started BTO, and I've since then deleted that take because it was just about the Reds and how unfathomably, and the word I used was mid. This is a mid team. And I deleted that take because they ended up beating out the Mets in the wild card. I don't want that over my head. But I stand by it still.
Leave it up. No, you should have left it up. Repost it.
They're mid. They're always going to be mid.
Repost it.
I don't care about...
Just worse. The Mets were just worse. That's what it was. They were mid.
All I heard was Hunter Green. Hunter Green's going to steal game 1 in LA. Shut up. Nice. Terrible. Some performance he had.
I'm really pumped for this Dodger series, though. I'm really pumped. I can't wait. I actually cannot wait.
I think, and I ran into Sarge actually today. He was at Hofstra, and he heard me talking about the Dodgers and praising them. Even despite the bullpen struggles, I think they're going to win. I think there's better.
With the way they're going to deploy Sasaki and Kershaw and Glass now possibly out of the bullpen, I think they are going to win too. But it's like it's the opposite of last year. How many innings can they avoid getting to their real bullpen arms?
Yeah.
And if they get good starts, 6-7 innings from, Snell and Yamamoto, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance.
That's why Shohei game 1 kind of scares me a little bit. And it's definitely your biggest gamble, I think, of the series. And look, I know he had to rehab him in the MLB. Probably didn't help. And he got hit around a little bit when he was first getting back into it. And I don't deny the stuff that Shohei has. But it's just a little bit in the back of my mind that says, you know what, dude, if the Phils get to him, and again, he could go like 6 great innings, but he could also have a start or 3 innings through, and you got to figure out how you want to take care of this.
I would have started Yamamoto in game 1 here, and I would have started Ohtani in game 2 of the wild card round because, again, knowing in the back of my mind, this Reds team is not going to beat me. Even if I get a bad start from Ohtani, I'm still going to be able to score a bunch of runs against Zach Littell in game 2 in LA. So as disrespectful of it as it sounds, I do mean it towards the Reds. You were always going to win that game. I would have started Ohtani in game 2 to set myself up for game 1 in Philadelphia with a guy that's going to be top 3 in the NL Cy Young voting.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And again, this Phillies lineup, this is a bit of a media lineup to me. I know the Last Dance and everything. I'm not totally sold on the Phillies lineup from 1
Media
through 9.
lineup. I love it.
That's what it feels like, man. Because what do you see? You see the Schwarber 2 home run games. And like, granted, there were plenty of them. But sometimes you don't see the struggles that I think we got to see as Mets fans when they came to Citi Field. And I don't think that's so much of a Citi Field black cloud over it. I just think that's how they are sometimes.
Yeah,
like you go.
Schwarber is great. Obviously, we know that. But Turner had a really good year. Harper is obviously great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at the rest of the lineup, you might have a point there. Bader's been great for them, though. Bader has been a godsend for them this year.
I know.
Which is tough to watch. Listen, they'll score. They're going to manufacture runs. They have guys that, I trust in the postseason. As bad as Castellanos was at points this year, I trust him. I trust Stott to come up with a big hit in the playoffs as well. It's crazy that it's just been 3 years of this team in the postseason, but a lot of these guys have big moments already. So I do trust them. I think it's going to be I think it's a 5-game series. I think it's an unbelievable series, and I'm pumped.
And with the Phillies, losing Wheeler, this is where it really hurts you. This is where you're going to notice it because, yeah, you could go out and roll out your Ranger Suarez and everything like that. But once you get through your first 2 guys, you're kind of piecing together this rotation. If it does go 5, the longer it goes, the more I like the Dodgers.
It's funny. Sanchez has been great, and Sanchez could start game 1 on a lot of teams. He's going to start game 1, obviously. And then you look at game 2, it's going to be Nola, who stunk. But that's where you lose it. That's where you lose me. Then you go Suarez, Luzardo. I'm looking at Suarez, and he had a great year. Ranger Suarez is a 4 on this team with Wheeler in the lineup, with Wheeler in the rotation, and he's a 2 on some teams, a great 3 with the year that he had. So this is where you feel the loss of Wheeler, because if they did have Wheeler, this is easily the scariest team in the entire league.
Yeah, I think so. And back end of the bullpen, outstanding.
Yeah.
But how do you piece that together though? Let's just say that one of those top 3 guys have a rough start and you got to pull them in the 4th or 5th inning. How do you build a bridge to the back end of that bullpen? Because it's not like the Phillies bullpen hole in hole is something to gawk at and say, oh, look at this. You got arms coming out here I'm terrified of. It's not like that with them.
Right. It's not. It'll be tough. If you get a bad start, I think it's like anybody though. It's like you don't have a Brewer or Padre or even Cub bullpen where if you do get, in a tough spot in the 2nd or 3rd inning, you're like, all right, I have enough guys here. But in the back end, they're going to get the starts. Hopefully they get the starts for their sake, not for me. And they're going to go to the back end, deploy those guys in the 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever they need to do. And Duran, obviously, he's such a weapon. Such a weapon.
Oh my God, he's so good. Mets walked him off, bro. I'll never forget that. Mets had their way with Yohan
Duran.
Yes, they did. Okay. Real quick, we'll hit Cubbies Brew Crew. And I think we're on the same page as this. We both agree Brewers are regular season champions. They always have been. Pencil them in for around 90 wins every year, somehow, some way. But it feels different, Mike. For me, this feels different. I don't know if it's them having the best record in baseball. I don't know if it's their best season since the early 80s. They feel different. I feel like they've come up with the big hits. They've had the names out of the pen and the rotation, have these awesome starts. Their situational heading, their defense. I think they can go and make a run to the World Series. I am really high on the Brewers when I'm usually not. And it'll probably come back to bite me in the ass if they lose in 4 to the Cubbies or whatever it may be.
It's a great series. It's a great series. For me with the Brewers, I don't think this is I don't think if they lose this series, I don't think it's going to be because they're a bad postseason team. I think they're going to lose to a really good team in Chicago. So I want to take that out. I want to take the stigma of them being a bad postseason team out because I just think the Cubs are really good.
I think they're good too, but I don't know. Let's put it like this. If the Padres hit that series, they move on. You know, if the Padres bats didn't go completely cold for the 3 games they played outside of a ninth inning rally in game 3, and they move on, I'm not as high on the Cubs. The great defense, sure. The rotation game, they did what they had to do, sure.
So
But I
you
don't.
like the Brewers here. The Brewers are moving on.
I like the Crew. I'm putting on the Crew hat, man. I like them a lot. I really do.
Yeah.
And Freddie Peralta, really good outing against the Cubbies last time. What was it? August something. I looked at it before. It was like mid-August, and he dominated against the Cubs. Game 1. It's important.
I'm pumped. I know we're getting to it right now. I'm pumped to talk about Mac Jones. I'm pumped to talk about Mac Jones.
Let's get to it. Yankees, Jays, by the way. How about just that really quick? Who moves on?
I think it's a great series. I think the Yankees are going to win. I do. I trust the Yankee starters more to give them more length and just be dominant. You know, but we obviously hit on the Yankees a bunch. I like the Blue Jays. I don't love them. I didn't love them in the regular season. I was shocked by the year they had. I will take the Yankees. I said that before this. I said the Yankees are going to get to the ALCS. I think they'll lose to the Mariners, but they're going to get there. I really like the Yankees. 5 games, though. 5-game series because I think the Blue Jays do match up with them well.
Yeah, I like the Yanks. We're going to look back at this, and the biggest mistake Boone had was not starting Schlittler earlier. Again, not a Boone thing. Just one of those, man, he's so freaking good. Okay, let's get to Thursday Night Football, Mike. It was a good game. And it was a very good Mac Jones performance. Bad on the Brock Purdy truthers, as in you and I.
Tough for the Brock Purdy people. You know what's so funny? If they did, like, they're obviously not, like, it wouldn't shock me if Kyle Shanahan said, like, all right, Mac's the starter even when Purdy's back, because he could do that. He has that pull. He could do that. But you paid him $50 million a year. You probably have to start him. But Mac Jones runs this offense very well. I mean, to do what he did last night with no receivers against a really good team on a short week on the road, how impressive was that? That was so freaking impressive when he was banged up, by the way. How many? Looked like he was going to throw up in pain multiple times.
I mean, he got hit like it was a car wreck in that backfield more times than I can count. He really got hit around. And if we're going to talk about the Mac Jones respect, how about the Robert Saleh defense of San Francisco? Wow, that's a gritty team. Love it. I love it.
No, they were good. They were good last night. They did a good job again, especially early. They punched the ball out a couple of times. You know, the Corum had a fumble. Obviously, the Kyron Williams fumble, which would have probably ended the game. It was very impressive. It was super impressive. And Mac Jones, again, just doing enough. It really makes you think what would have happened if Kyle Shanahan just drafted him over Trey Lance. Brian Clark tweeted this last night. What if they decided no on, as I'm buzzing in my ear right now, I don't know what this is about, as if they just said, you know what, we're going to take Mac, we're not taking Trey in that draft. What happens? Completely different world.
But let me ask you this now. Purdy comes back, whatever it may be. But if Mac Jones is really dealing, it's not like you need the Brock Purdy to run this offense. I think it's clear that Mac Jones can obviously do it. And maybe you got lightning in a bottle. Maybe as the weeks go on and Mac Jones goes on and that you start to get more tape on him with this offense, and all of a sudden he's not doing what he did tonight. I don't expect him to week in and week out. But it is an interesting conversation that you don't need a superstar to run this offense.
You've never needed one. And like, that's why, and I was a proponent of keeping Brock and paying him, but that's why people were against it, because Kyle Shanahan is that arrogant where he really truly believes he could pick somebody off the street that can play the quarterback position, put him into this offense, and they can run it. There's a reason why these failed quarterbacks go to 3 different places. There's a reason why they go to Minnesota. There's a reason why they go to San Francisco, and there's a reason why they go play for the Rams. It's because they want to be coached by these 3 offensive minds. And Mac Jones is going to get a job again, whether he deserves it or not, because of the performance that he is putting up right now in San Francisco.
And I saw this take on John Harbaugh with the Ravens on when do you move on from the guy if the season continues to fail. And I'm thinking about the same thing with Shanahan. How many times has he failed or fell short in the playoffs? And I think, well, when is his leash going to run short? But then you see games like that with a banged up crew, with a quarterback who has proved that he probably won't start in the NFL longer than after the Niners, with a receiving core from the depths of hell that somehow won a Super Bowl.
Kendrick Bourne, by the way.
Yeah, that's a Shanahan offense, and that's why those guys have longer leashes. And I'm impressed. Whether it's Shanahan, Mac Jones, the defense, the Rams should have ran away with that game. They really should have.
And they didn't. And McCaffrey, a healthy McCaffrey changes a lot for Shanahan as well. I'd love to see his record with or without McCaffrey the last few years. It has just been incredible what they were able to do and what they've been able to do over these last few years, because he is like, we're talking about the great offensive minds in the league, and O'Connell's getting a lot of hype, and obviously McVay's been a staple, talking about the great minds. But Shanahan's kind of gone away. They've had a couple bad years here, and now he's back.
And last thing, and then we'll get out of here with Brock Purdy. And the whole stigma around him is he's good, but he needs to be in a perfect offense. He needs the weapons around him. Sure thing. And I know it's a one-game sample size, and I'm not sitting here and telling you Mac Jones is going to be the future of this 49ers offense. But that's a bit of a hit on Purdy, that he needs all of that around him, and it's proven he needs all that around him. And Mac Jones does it with paper clips and a glue stick in Christian McCaffrey, and it works. And that's an issue.
They're going to figure this out. Because they look like a better team right now the last few weeks with Mac Jones. They played nobody when Mac Jones won. They lose to Jacksonville. Then they play last night against a really good team. They move with Mac Jones. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Purdy's going to get his job back when he's healthy. I don't think he's playing next week. I just read he's week to week. So we'll see how that works. But going to be a fascinating conversation when he's ready to play.
Hey, the Bengals don't want Jameis or Russ. We got a guy in San Francisco.
Purdy would be awful there. Yeah, I mean, you could put prime Peyton Manning. Maybe not prime Peyton Manning. You could put you put Jalen Hurts in that offense, and I'm not taking a shot at Hurts because I think Hurts is good. I'm actually a Hurts believer now.
Wow, it converted you.
But it wouldn't look good. It wouldn't look good if you put Hurts behind that offensive line. Nobody can survive that except Joe Burrow or Josh Allen.
Can Joe Burrow survive it?
Well, he's actually not. He got killed by it. But yeah, he can make plays behind that offensive line. That's about it.
All right, that's going to do it here. No good takes. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We got our shout-outs to go around. Here we go. Let's see if I remember this. Mike's got mic'd up. Bunk's got the bunker. Together, they're the Burrows. Gabe's on the playbook. Check out Mike and Bo. They're doing great things. They're doing things with
Come on. We're getting there. Our picks are right there.
They let you know what to fade. They let you know it's a good job over there.
You can do that.
You're going to win money either way, whether you look at that. And then I'm missing one here. JM and Mike. They got the Hardline Sports Talk. That's 6 of them. Jeremy and I are the idiots that make up no good takes. Mike fills in today. And that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back soon. Go sports. Go New York sports. Go Giants. Jackson Dart in New Orleans. And that'll do it here from No Good